And what is up, everybody? I am Ball Python Love. If you're joining in, thank you so much. And tonight's special guest is Ectothermic Dungeon.
What's going on, everybody?
Those that who do not know you, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Jim. I'm half of Ectothermic Dungeon. The other half is my brother-in-law, Matt. And together we kind of breed our own food supply and ball pythons. We've been doing this for 7 or 8 years. Probably didn't do it right the first 3 or so, so we're just kind of revamping things and been refocused and really kind of making a new way in the breeding world, so to speak, for ourselves anyway.
Right on. Welcome, Low Life. Thank you for joining. CSL, thank you. I appreciate it.
And I'll have to tell you now, I cannot see any of the chat, so I'm going to totally rely on you for any questions, anything that comes up there.
Yeah, if anyone's those who are watching, if you guys want to ask a question for Ectothermic Dungeon, do so. I'll ask them for you guys, or just put them on the screen so you can read them. But so you and I were talking backstage and whatnot, and we're talking, a couple different subjects. And the one subject that I told you I would like to talk about, and you want to have your brother on for it. I should have asked you this last week, was to talk about the rat breeding a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, I can definitely get into it a little bit. I mean, super specific details in the everyday is really like his wheelhouse. So the way we're running things now is he breeds and kind of holds down the rodent side. I clean and manage all the snakes. He does his own pairings and his own stuff, and he has his own collection within everything here. But I do all the labor part of the snakes, and he does all the labor part of the rodents. So
how many would you say that you guys get a month on rodents?
We've had anywhere, so I'll count females. So our female count runs anywhere from 40 a week to 60 to 70 a week, depending on how many colonies he's pushing. And we're currently pulling about 12 babies per female. So it's pretty solid. We need in the neighborhood of, well, lately with all the babies, a lot higher, but right about 300 babies is what we need a week to feed and grow out stuff, so that we continually have food for everything else. And we've had probably 500 to 600 a week production. Nice. So there's a little bit of overbreeding that we've picked up some customers for rodents, and have been selling off some of that stuff to help defray some of the cost. A pallet of food. We do about a pallet of food a month, and that runs right about $900. And then bedding and pellets and
The pellets really help. They really do help.
Oh, big time, absolutely. You don't have to use as much of the pine chips, and it really absorbs and expands and keeps absorbing a lot of the urine and the feces stuff, and it keeps a lot of the smell down. So, it's not really an extra cost, to be honest. It really helps the room be manageable.
Yeah.
We do everything in a it's now, for the longest time we were breeding rodents in an 8x12 shed, and we moved everything into a 10x20 space, so it's like half of a garage, and we were able to add a lot more colonies and maternity racks and grow outs and stuff. And we don't use AC. We were using air conditioning units in the beginning, and a brand new unit would last a year, and then the urine would just eat up all the coils, and it's done. So $350 a year, or you buy a sealed fan and you put that. We built those into the wall, and we just use natural air for exhaust. And in the winter, this will be the first year that we are actually in the process of building like a heat exchanger.
Okay.
So we
Keep
can
it
bring
warm.
in fresh air that's of a better temperature and exhaust some of the garbage air that's in there, just to keep the smells down, because that also affects the way and the volume of which the rodents will breed. So
Yep. If it stinks, they will not breed.
no, they shut down. You won't. Your volumes will, your production will be like
Drop.
half.
Yep.
So
And
yeah, I
the
mean, the pellets definitely help with that tremendously. And I think we're running anywhere from 10 to 12 colonies of 20.4.
nice.
And again, it depends on the excess. Sometimes if we see a deficit coming,
Now,
the
are you
girls
using
that
like just like a wooden rat rack?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Same.
we've definitely been talking about trying to squeeze some coin to pick up some of the ARS racks, only because in the same square foot space that we have, we would be able to increase production, roughly a third. Um, so, I mean, it is expensive. The racks run about $3,200 a piece, and if I put two in place and got rid of the wooden, again, a third production more in the same space is a lot. And if your ball pythons are growing with baby production, and you just need numbers, and you can't change your space, but you have an option to change the way the type of rack you're using, you're kind of handcuffed to make those changes.
I actually moved all the snakes to the living room, and I have the snake room now. Now the rat room.
Yeah. So with the ARS, what would change for us would be, instead of running like a 20.4 or a 15.4, we would run like a 6.1, 6.2.
Okay.
And then we would have like an overflow tub with females that aren't breeding, that are recovering, or that are new and they're growing up. And then as we pull pregnants, we flip the new ones in. So we definitely do like the maternity breeding. We don't do the harem stuff. The colonies don't raise the babies. Pregnant moms don't stay in there, for us anyway. I mean, we found that if they're isolated, those pregnant females are isolated, they tend to do better. They're less aggressive. We have less loss. We don't have a male that goes crazy and eats all the babies and that kind of thing. So, so for us, it just kind of works that way. It takes a little bit more space for sure, but that's just kind of the road we've chose to go this so far.
Oh yeah. So of all the ball pythons that you had this year, or still having, of this, anything you're looking for, that you really hope to hit?
Well, I only have 2 clutches left for the season, so I've kind of really hit all my stuff. And we've really been blessed this year. We did several Zuwadi het clown to clown het clown pairings, and we've produced 3 Zuwadi clowns. I just found out this week as well, Matt Byram just hit a couple Zuwadi clowns as well. So to be in the forefront of that project is fantastic to have, and of those 3 animals, 2 of them are males. So we're going to keep one of the males, and the female that's available, the other male will eventually be sold. So super excited about that. I can see if they're in shed here. So this guy, he's starting to go into shed, but let's see if we can get the head stamp.
I want to put you on solo real quick. There you go.
So that's the head stamp. That's his Zawadi head stamp. Kind of has the, if you watch Justin Kabelka stuff at all, he talks about the headphones on certain morphs. They definitely have the headphones. Very bright, very like a drippy, reduced pattern. There's really no alien heads left. I mean, the heads are there, but there's no eyes or anything like that. I mean, you just get a random dot here and there. Pretty cool belly. Open this up a little bit more. Yeah, nice tail stripe on the belly. So really excited about where this is going. The brightness that it adds when it's stacked in. Let me bring it back over there. There you go. Just very, very exciting project. I'm excited for Matt Byram to get his stuff kind of out of the egg so we can see what's, what he's got for other genes in the mix.
Okay.
I do want to show you one more animal.
Yeah.
So this is the female that I'm holding on to, and we can talk about brightness. She's going in the shed as well. They're siblings, so they're all on like kind of the same schedule. You can see those headphones again. This is an Enchi Fire Zawadi. That belly. Trying to manage some of this stuff is a little tough. Tail stripe's a little bit different because there's some other genes in there. Really
Low
good.
life set, very nice.
Yeah, nice blushing. And I want you guys to see this head stamp. This is pretty classic so far for the Zawadi. You kind of get those earphones and then the
What's up,
headband
Benjamin?
that goes across the top. Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. That is badass, bro.
So this is a female. So she's staying here. The male you saw is staying here. I do have another male that we've just kind of been sitting on. And because, to be honest, when you produce something that's not just world's first, but especially when you mix it into a recessive and nobody's ever made it before, I don't know what I have. I mean, is it? I mean, we were pretty limited as what was in the pairing. I mean, it was a Fire Zawadi to an Enchi Clown, and he was het for Clown. So really only 3 other genes, Enchi, Fire, and Zawadi in the mix. And the first animal you looked at, I mean, it's definitely not normal. It's not Enchi, and it's not Fire. So, by deduction, we've been sitting on them, calling them Zawadis, and then I got pictures from Matt Byram this week where he had his eggs, and you could see the exact same head stamp in those eggs, but I could see other color too. So there's definitely something else in the mix there. So it'll be really exciting to see those out of the egg as well.
Okay.
So that was probably the pinnacle or most valued clutch that I had this year, because I hitting 3 of those, and kind of some of the conversation right now is a Zawadi Clown is about 15K. So I mean, that, I don't know. So that's an epic clutch, right? When you start stacking those numbers. I mean, the 2 males are. Yeah, the 2 males are about 30, and then that female is probably, I mean, I guess if you could sell her, if I sold her, 18-ish or whatever, I mean, it just gets astronomical. And there's another visual and, some. So here's another one that came from the same clutch.
All right. Put you back on solo real quick. You guys haven't already, please smack that like button and share this shit out. I truly appreciate it. So
this is another female. She is actually available. She is on Morph Market right now. This is, and same as the last female, just not visual clown. So this is an Enchi Fire Zawadi, and she's 100% het for clown.
Just saying for the people out there watching, how much are you asking for?
This girl is $6K, and it's one of those things where you put a price tag, and if she sells, great, but if she doesn't, dude, I mean, this is a phenomenal breeder that she ended up staying here. I wouldn't bat an eye at it. It wouldn't bother me because I know I could make way more money with putting stuff to her um, than if she was sold. But again, we had this conversation backstage. You really can't keep everything. You kind of have to, we're
And
limited space.
That's the thing that breaks my heart. Like yeah, there's some, like, even you said you've seen photos and you're like, damn, I wish I still had that one.
Yeah,
Like,
and this would be one of those girls where she's gonna grow up, and the colors are gonna keep getting brighter, and she'll be insane, and they'll make something ridiculous, and I'll be over here just kicking myself. But I don't have a big facility like Justin. I don't have even like a space like Bob Boo, or even multiple other people. I mean, Billy, or whoever you want to throw in the mix that has those kind of facilities. So with limited tubs and racks, I mean, there's really only so much you can hold back. We spend
yeah.
a lot of money every year on racks because I mean, last year we held about 70 something animals back. This year we're going to be slightly less than that, but not much. I mean, that's a lot of space to put animals. You know what I mean? To have somewhere to put them once they outgrow, like the V18s that you see behind me.
Damn.
And
I feel you on the limited space. Like, there is, I mean, unless you're one of, like, Billy, can boat, like, it's just, no. Like, I mean, I'm limited on space. I get it, but like like you said though, I mean, there's the ones that you're like, fuck, dude, I really wish like I could hold her back, but damn it, I can't.
I had a customer of mine post one today, and I was like, oh my god. I mean, before the show, I was sitting upstairs, and my daughter and her friend was over, and I'm like, check this snake out, and they're like, what? That's crazy. I'm like, yeah, I sold it, and they're like, what? What are you, crazy? I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, you got to make the best decision you can at the time, and keep what you can keep and sell what you have to sell. I mean, I keep more than most, but that's why a lot of people talk about spending more money per animal so that your collection can stay small and you can produce a variety of stuff from moderate to low end to crazy high end stuff, and you don't have to worry about making 50, 60, 70 clutches to do it. You could do it with 10, 20 females. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, welcome construction worker. Welcome my animal house. Welcome Isaiah. Welcome everybody. Thank you. Appreciate it. And you guys haven't already smacked that like button, share the shit out. Appreciate it. But yeah, dude, I mean, like I said, I mean, being on limited space and all that, like, eventually there will come that point to where, like, once again, I'm still waiting for my first clutch, but once it starts going, like, space is limited. I can't get, like, there has to be a point where I'm like, all right, I got to get rid of this one. It's going to break my heart.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. And especially, if the clutches are producing stuff that aren't just normals, you know what I mean? I mean, granted, you put your time and your effort into it, and, it takes the same amount of energy to produce a normal as it does, to produce like a Zawadi clown. But, you
That's
can't
like,
move normals. It's hard to sell normals. We talked about this too. I have some animals I've posted for, $65. And when they find out that shipping is 67, they're like, I'm not paying more money in shipping than I am for the animal. And you just don't hear from them again. It's harder to move those animals, especially on Morph Market. If you have a local, following, some of that can be a little bit easier. And if you can get plugged into like a like a local pet shop or something that may take some of those normals or single genes or whatever, that's definitely very useful. And
Yeah.
near me, the only shops will take donations, and I'm like, see you later.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Because I mean, I can wholesale. I'd rather just wholesale it to somebody and let them sell it than to give it away. Because at least I get the rats that I put into them back.
Congratulations, construction worker! 37 hatchling last year. 37 hatchling. I mean, I haven't had one yet.
Hatchlings or clutches?
Well, I think he said he had. I'm starting my second season. Haven't sold any animals.
Okay.
And then he wrote, I got 37 hatchlings last year.
Hatchlings. Okay. Yeah. So 736. So about four, five, about 5 clutches or so. That's good. That's a good first season. My first year, I had one clutch.
That's when I'm going.
Yep. The next year I went to 9. The third year we were 9 again. Year 4 we went to like 25, and then we were 30, 32, and then this year is 43. And there's a considerable jump between 32 and 43. I'll tell you that. the amount of babies is complete insanity. Next year, the transition from this year to next year for us is going to be mind blowing. We picked up four new racks, just like the ones behind me, in anticipation for next year. I myself, without mat stuff, I'm pairing 70 to 80 females, which has proven to be a total different ball game on its own. I think Matt is going to have somewhere around another 20 or so. So we're looking at about 90 to 100 girls we're going to pair. And we typically run about 65 to 70% of what we pair actually goes. So we'll be somewhere between the 55 and 65 clutches this coming season, if all the numbers pan out right.
Construction worker says, LOL, no, 7 clutches, a lot of first-time moms.
Yeah, so you get the lower counts.
What's up, Reptile Hunch? And then Low Life says, Jim, do you use a sonogram in your females? If I said that right. Sonogram.
So we've had one for a while. So yes, we have an ultrasound machine. In the past, we've used it just to kind of gauge where the girls were. I never had like a big enough hitting male or enough females to where I needed a male to really be stretched. So, with a male going to 4 or 5 girls, we've gotten away with just you pair each one once a month and you're good to go. And that's worked. We've never really had duds or anything like that. So the males weren't really stretched too thin, like sperm-wise. This year, however, though, I have an ODYB pied that's seeing about 8 females. My tri-stripe is seeing 8 to 9 females. And I have a pastel super inchy hypo DG that is in the mix, and he's seeing about 8 females. So with those type of counts, the monthly pairing thing makes me nervous that I'll end up missing clutches due to the male just being spread too thin. So this will be the first year where we're really relying on the ultrasound in making strategic pairings. One in the beginning to get the females going, and then at 15, 20, and at 30, roughly. And then instead of, breeding that female for, 6-7 months and getting locks every month, they're going to get 3 to 4 locks each at the critical points. And then hopefully that works for us and we don't lose too many clutches and we, everything goes. But I've talked to, several different people that breed that way, and including Justin, and they're successful. So if they're successful with that method, if I'm replicating it properly, I should be successful with that method as well. So
I told you also behind stage, my dog sounds like a big lighter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he barks a lot sometimes. Sometimes it takes a couple.
You got to get him quieted down a little bit. So yes, we've had the ultrasound for probably like 3 or 4 years, but haven't used it for reliance. And now I'm completely relying on it going forward this year, just so I can get all the locks and everything I need across, many pairings. So I fingers crossed.
Okay. Like I said, dude, I'm still waiting on my first. I'm hoping, I'm praying, I'm wishing.
When it comes though, dude, it's going to be so much fun. And again, they tell you just put them in the incubator, leave them alone, and I do my first clutch. I can remember, pulling them out like once a week, and candling the eggs to see if there was development and stuff. And I didn't have any there was nothing went wrong with him. Like the whole clutch came out fine. There weren't twisted umbilicals or anything like that. But the more you mess with them, the higher the chances that something could happen.
Yeah.
So the best you can do is like that commercial says, set it and forget it. So and that's easy. That's easy to do when you've got. I mean, this season, like we had so much stuff coming, it was easy to do in the peak of the season because, I mean, you're cutting a clutch or 2 or 3 a week, and it's like you forget about everything else.
Yeah.
But when you have just that one, it's tough. It's real tough. So you'll have to do your best to leave it to that day 55, and then you've got to make a personal decision on whether you're going to wait for a pipper or you're going to cut. Or you're going to wait for all of them to pip and not cut at all. So,
honestly, if I'm going to cut.
Yeah, we do. I don't wait no more.
I'm cutting.
I was back and forth. So we started cutting in the beginning, right at day 55, no matter what was happening.
I'm kind.
And then
Go ahead, and I'll say it. No, go ahead, and I'll tell you after.
And then we went through a period of well, maybe we should wait for a pipper because that's what Justin's doing. That's what some of these guys are doing, and they're doing it, or at least saying it, because they're catching flack from the community about just cutting eggs. So my stance is really this: it is not survival of the fittest. These are not wild animals anymore. They're going to spend their life in a tub. So I'm going to cut the eggs, and I'm going to provide every bit of effort I can to make sure every single one of them survive and find a home that's going to take care of them. So with that said, I really don't care about cutting them because I want everyone to survive. I want everyone to come out, and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that they have the best shot at it. So with that said, we kind of did away with waiting for a pipper to cut, and the push was we had a clutch that had some boob eggs in it from a first-time girl, and we were waiting for them to pip, and we had a couple pippers. So I went and I cut the eggs, and one of the boobs, there was a slice in the egg, like they had started to pip, but when I cut it, she was dead. Now, because it was a boob egg, it had taken up a lot of the space for the egg. So developmentally, that animal's really, really small. So I'm speculating that he was able to cut the egg, but by the time they got through the egg, they were so exhausted that they just drowned.
Damn.
And didn't make it. But that said, I've only experienced that once of all the animals that we've produced over the past 6 years. So, but that was one time enough for me, because I feel like if I'm going to breed them or put them together so that they breed, and I'm going to collect the eggs, take them away from mom, put them in a specialized containers so they have the best shot at growing and produce, developing. I'm also in charge of managing their care all along the way, and from getting out of the egg to taking their first meals to finding the right home, all that stuff. So that kind of hit me really. I don't want to say hard. I wasn't like distraught, but I was like, dude, that really kind of sucks. And it was because I had changed my method from just cutting at day 55 as to waiting for pippers. And it wasn't like a really expensive animal, but still, it's something that I brought to the world, and I feel like I didn't give it as much as I should have, because I feel like had I cut that egg, that animal would have come out. I may have had to assist feed it because it was so small, but it would still be alive today. And for me, that's enough to cut on day 55.
So, hello, Michaela and Cara. Thank you for joining. Fungus Queen, thank you for joining. So, do you prefer scissors or do you prefer doing a razor?
I use scissors. Sorry, I'm just turning the volume up. I have a pair, what we call the golden scissors, and some of the YouTube followers that watch all the live egg cuttings, they have jokes about the golden scissors because the handles. I'll grab them. I'll show you.
Okay.
So they're not really fancy, per se, but that's the golden scissors.
Oh yeah.
So it's a pretty heavy scissor as far as the way they're built. This particular scissor is called a straight Mayo scissor. They're used in surgical cases for humans and probably for pets and stuff as well. Working in an OR along the way, we were back in the day. I was issued these to cut tape and different things around the OR. So they ended up here, and I used them to cut my eggs, and that's the only thing I've cut my eggs with. And they're razor sharp, so I can put them in and just kind of push them across the skin. I don't have to scissor to get them to cut. And I like them. They're a blunt tip, so they're not sharp. So they're really kind of rounded there. That's really not. So they're rounded, so I can't really stab anything. The tips aren't going to cut anything. So it's a safe scissor. I know people that have gone on Amazon and have bought similar scissors with the golden tip, the fingers and everything. But to answer your question, yes, we cut with scissors. Razor blades scare the crap out of me. I watched Brian Barczyk do it all the time.
That's right. That's why
I can't. No, I can't.
I feel like I'm cutting one of the snakes every time. I'm like, oh shit, what the fuck did I do?
No, dude, I get goosebumps every time he does it, and he's never cut a snake that I'm aware of. But man, I just like, nope. I know if I put these in the egg blind, I can't do any damage. If I stick a razor blade in the egg blind and I don't know what I'm doing, I can definitely cut a snake. So I've just kind of stuck to the scissors. And again, I don't usually go in the egg with them, again, because I'm afraid of cutting too many veins or things. I tend to tent the egg kind of like Billy does and cut along the top.
What's up, Cuddle Time?
Yeah.
Thank you for joining.
Yeah, so I stay kind of right on the outside there.
Every time I'm with you, I see him use a razor blade. That's why I had to ask you. I'm like, dude, I see Brian Barczyk use it. I'm like, oh god.
Yep. No thanks. I'm good.
But he never gets a snake. I'm like, how do you do that? He's like a wizard with like cutting. He's like, this is just. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you build a technique based on what you're comfortable with, and then you do it for 30 years like he has. Yeah, it's going to look smooth and silky. I'm going to do it, and it's going to look like somebody murdered that egg if I don't actually kill the snake. Yeah, dude, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, even using the scissors, if you went back to some of the early videos I think we did with scissors, man, it was pretty brutal. And even Matt And there's a technique to it. Even Matt struggled a little bit early on and was catching flacks from your friendly flack from some of the subscribers that were watching the live streams and stuff. And but it takes a little practice. I mean, until you cut the eggs, you don't really understand the challenge that's there.
I can't go down the razor blade route. I'll stick with scissors once I do it.
I won't ever.
I don't care how much everyone's like, do it. Nope. That's just something, I don't know. It creeps me out. I feel like I'm going to cut the shit out of the snake. Just, I'd rather pinch the top, cut the top, call it good.
Yeah. And if you have to, get a really big pair of scissors like Billy has, and just one, and you're done. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, yeah. So we definitely use scissors. It's safer, based on my emotional needs. So.
What's in the glass, Jim?
Yeah, this is a little rye whiskey. So Sagamore Spirit rye.
Okay.
I've not had it before. It's actually pretty decent. It's you see that bottom there, Baltimore, Maryland. I didn't even see that before, so kind of a strange place for a whiskey to come out of, I would think, based on most of them, but it's actually pretty good.
Oh yeah.
1909 they started. I
have Coors tonight.
Nice.
That's what I always drink. So
your go-to. Yeah. I'm all over the place, man. I like beer, whiskey, bourbon, scotch.
Are you following? Fuck, I'm so sorry.
Cusco?
Yeah, on the whiskey channel.
His whiskey wimps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Him and who started that with him?
I can't remember the dude's name.
He's out of Philly or Pennsylvania anyway.
For our first season, hypo. So here's one. We just got our first 3 clutches from our first season, hypo to a pastel spot nose clown.
Bro, first season, you're making double recessives in double heads in your first season. That's
crazy.
Fantastic.
That is crazy.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. Congratulations. Nice job on putting down a plan, sticking to that plan, buying within that project, and making that happen. That's a lot harder than what it sounds like.
Yeah.
We've been trying to revamp a lot of our stuff here because when we started, the first 3 years, I was buying in what I call like a fish mentality. And I used to breed fish. I had like 50 aquariums, and, fish are nice. You can put a lot of different kinds of fish in the same tank. You know what I mean? And so we went at ball pythons that way. Lots of different kinds of really nice, and I've always bought, even the fish wise, you always have the same thing. You have your high quality breeders and the people that, at the bottom, they really, that's the same thing. It don't look quite the same thing. And it's the same thing in ball pythons. I've always bought at the upper ends, so that at least I know my genetics were really, really good. However, nothing was really in a project. It was just a bunch of different stuff that I liked. So after about 3 years of that, we started to saying, well, we got to start making changes, and because I can't keep going this way. There'd be too many animals, and start like focusing into certain projects like pie.
What you actually want to produce instead of just
Correct.
buying what you like.
Correct.
I totally get it, dude. I totally get it.
Correct. And I see a lot of stuff every day. I'm like, dude, oh, that's an awesome gene. I gotta buy that. I'm like, well, no, I don't have to buy that. I would like to have it, but like, where am I gonna? If I'm gonna plan a project for that gene, I got to grow out at least 10 animals, right? Because you might be able to do something with 2 or 3 females, but a good 7 females and a couple males at least. I'm like, not right now. Not right now. I have 2 or 3 really untapped genes that I'm working with. I don't need another one. I can't do another one right now. It just takes too much to get those three genes into the recessives that I want to see them in, and get those hets on the ground and grown up and start, breeding some of that back to see what it does, because most of the time, at least with these three, they haven't been put in any recessives, at least, well, for the most part, no visual recessive been made with them, so at least that I'm aware of. But it's fun. That's the fun part of the game.
Another one in the chat was a pastel clown to a GHI lesser ghost.
Yeah, I mean another one of those double recessive, and that's a monster clutch too, because you got the incomplete stuff pouring in from both sides. Even if it is only pastel on one side, but like the results of that, you're gonna hold back some of those females and a male, or even if you don't hold back the males in the first go around and you just keep the females and grow them out, and then maybe go shopping, right, for a male that fits that project that is going to have different genes in it, a year down the road. So once those girls get some size, you go shopping for some, some hypo clown stuff that has maybe chocolate or something in it, and you add that into the mix. That's, so you're breeding it back, but you're putting a powerhouse male to those girls, and you're adding a new gene on top of it. Like, yeah, that's mind blowing. Yeah, the potential is crazy.
So how many would you say you have right now?
We run about 210 adults upstairs, and yeah, I think I'm about 185 hatchlings right now.
Nice.
That's including the holdbacks. So I have about 30 or so that I need to wholesale. We have about 60 or so that are holdbacks, and the remainder of stuff that's available or will be available.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot. Makes you nervous, at this point. Most of my stuff dropped last year or this year. Most of my stuff dropped between March and June. So I had like 30 clutches drop, but so like 10 clutches a month. If that happens again this year, I get nervous for rack space. Hence why we bought 4 more racks. And even still, the total baby count for next year, if the average is hit, they all won't fit in the racks I have. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Might have to buy more racks on a whim, or really move some stuff really fast, hopefully. But there's a fair bit of like doubles and double hets, triple hets, some wild stuff that should be coming out of here that I don't suspect will be sticking around for very long. So I'm not terribly concerned about not having space.
Okay.
I hope.
Construction worker says, I hate my rat bill. I don't. My rat bill is because I breed mine.
Yeah.
If I would buy locally from the only place in Reno and Sparks that sells rats, I've said this before, 12 to 14, 15 for small. A medium runs you about 18 or 16 to 18, and a large runs you about $19. Yeah, for one. This is why I breed my own, man. Like if I was gonna breed,
we get $5-6 for a jumbo.
Yeah, not here.
Dude, that's ridiculous.
Not here. Yeah. So I breed my own rats, and it's a lot cheaper. I spend maybe $80 compared to spending a couple hundred a week. Like,
dude, that's insane. Yeah, if we were, we haven't done numbers in a long time as far as what it would cost if we were buying like live or frozen thawed somewhere else. But I have friends that are spending, like, collections are roughly the same size. They're spending $400 or $500 a week.
Matthew Thomas, what's up? Yeah.
on just rodents. $500-600, $400-500 a week on just rodents. Like, bro, even at the low end of that, like $1,600 a month. Like, dude, that's insane. We spend a bit less than that, but we are in food and bedding and waste removal. But we're selling rodents that defray some of that cost, and we have the option of holding as many rodents back as we need. We always have, well, not always, but most of the time we have the appropriate sizes that we need and everything else. So you just can't put a price tag on that. When there's 180 hatchlings that you're feeding every week. If you don't have the fuzzies or the crawlers or the pups or whatever you need for that, they don't eat. I don't know. I've heard stories, at least around here, that these guys, they'll put in orders for what they want, and then the guy shows up and they get half if they're lucky. So then you got to decide who eats that week and who don't, and then you got to keep track of it so that if you get halved again next week, the other ones eat. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just gets crazy. So at least here, it's a lot more work. It's a pain in the butt, but we have what we need, and everything eats when it needs to eat.
See, I feed live only. I don't do the frozen thawed. I don't.
Yeah.
It's just my preference. Hopefully, no one hates that. And
we feed live too.
That's why I breed them. Like, I mean, but that's why I changed out. Like I said, I don't know if I said it on the live stream or backstage, but I changed out the snake room completely. Took all the snakes out of there, and it's just going to become one big ass rat room. And from the looks of it, I could probably have about like 24 racks in there.
Wow.
And about 5 deep each. And
you put your price tag about a third less than everybody else in your area, you're gonna make a mint on rats. That's just astronomical. That's crazy. I've not heard of prices being that high. Like, that's insane.
This is how crazy it is here where I live. Okay, so in Reno or Sparks, Nevada, wherever you go, it's they're connected. For a mouse at Petco, $8.50. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm done. Like, dude, this is why I started bringing my own. I can't do it anymore. I want to make money off my rodents.
Yeah, I mean, like at those numbers, we would have to breed our own as well, because there's no way in God's green earth that I could support everything I have here at those prices. There's no way.
No, it's crazy. And everyone's like, somebody just said, it was in the chat, it was Matthew Thomas. I pay $275 for a jumbo. For a jumbo, I'm spending like $22, $24. Yeah. I'm like, fuck. Like,
yeah. So Matt Thomas is my other half. Like, he's the other half of Ecto.
Oh, okay.
So he's the rat dude. So any of those questions that really come through that I'm like off on answering or whatever, he'll definitely be able to pipe in and set me straight, so to speak, on what we're producing. So there was a question a while back, Matt. Maybe you can kind of throw down the numbers of what we're typically producing as far as babies per week on average. Rat babies, that is.
Well, you don't even have to do a weekly thing. If you could just come up with I was just asking a monthly one. Like, for me, monthly, because I mean, I only have so many rats compared to you guys. I'm probably producing about like 90 to 100. I have 14 ball pythons, so I'm like in that perfect range, but it's not. I'd rather have more food than just be okay.
Right.
Or not enough. So
yeah,
I'm going to start breeding them out like crazy. I'm probably going to go spend, sadly, $100 on like 6 rats, like medium size. Hopefully, I'm going to tell them, give me like half females, half males, switch up some of the males with them, and go from there.
Yeah.
And hopefully everything pays out.
I mean, and again, once they start breeding for you, though, if you have overproduction that, you have somebody else that's local to you that you can sell to, and even if you take a third off the cost of what the average rate is out there, you're making a ton of money on those animals, and that's going to help defray, some of your food or your bedding or whatever, and the time and effort you put into it. And that's all we're looking to do. We're not really looking to make money on our rodents, but we would like to have like a small customer base that at least covered maybe the food. You know what I mean? If we could sell $900 a month in rats, I mean that'd be great, because then at least the food is now covered. And again, that makes feeding all these things almost zero.
Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, that's my goal. You know, and that's why I want to breed, get that whole thing going. So that's why I moved to snakes, dude. So if I can make, sell them locally and make more of it, if I could even sell a couple, I mean, that helps with bedding, like you said, food. I mean, it honestly, like, fuck, it'll even help with treats. Like, I give my rats treat once a week. Like, I'll give them grapes aren't in season, but I'll give them like strawberries or raspberries, or sometimes I'll go get them broccoli, stuff like that.
Yeah, carrots. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we started like popping out not too long ago, popping out blues. So, and apparently, I mean, Matt's done more research on this than I have. I haven't really looked at it too much, but the blue rats, the true blue rats, again in this area, are fetching like $15 a piece, and if you're getting $5 for a jumbo, and you got these blues that are 15s, granted you got to find the right niche for that, but it's another avenue of, instead of putting it into a snake and turn it into a pile of crap, I mean, you can get maybe stretch a little bit more money if there's enough of that niche around, to offset some of those costs.
I ain't gonna lie, like, if I could make even more than what I think off the rats, I mean, that could be another female that I'll save it for, ready, to breed. Like, get me going a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
But
yeah, this year was good. I mean, we had times where the production was really high, and we were double feeding a lot of the, if they take it. I mean, I'm not like assist feeding, adults, but we have those girls that haven't really gone yet, but they're on the cusp. You know what I mean? They're like 1,100 grams, and that the season's coming. It's right there. So you flip them an extra rat, during the week, and typically when we do that, the rats that they're going to see are a little bit smaller than if we were feeding once a week. So they're only getting slightly more grams of rodent per week, but it just does something to their metabolism where they grow faster and they stack on the weight a little bit better. So it just kind of assures that certain females that you want to go this coming season are going to stack on, hopefully, some more grams and hit those numbers, so that you're more comfortable with those pairings.
Welcome, Kit Kat. Thank you for joining. Appreciate it. But yeah, dude, like, I'd love to increase my rat production by a lot. I mean,
especially where you're at.
I'm not trying to buy my food from my snakes. That just, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
doesn't work.
That was definitely our thought process too in the beginning. You know what I mean? Like, why spend $5 when you can produce it for 50 cents, like, or $1 even? You know what I mean?
Well, shit, you make a killing here.
What's that?
You would make a killing here.
Oh yeah, well yeah, that'd be awesome. Because your rodent food and your bedding really doesn't change that much. I mean, that's not the cost. There's just I would imagine though in Reno you've got to have some serious climate control attached to if you have a facility, so to speak, instead of your home, because your home is going to be climate controlled. You're going to have AC, whatever, to manage those crazy temperatures, especially in the wicked part of the summer. But if you had a facility, you also going to have that and have it managed in a way that all the urine and all the stuff in the air that's produced from the rodents isn't destroying that ventilation system. So you have to have some very creative systems to manage all that stuff, so that you can produce at higher numbers. But yeah, I mean, it's not hard to do, but it would you attach that rodent facility to a snake facility, and you exhaust the snake air into the rodents, and then it just goes out the building. Yep, yep, it's doable. It's definitely doable. When you produce enough numbers, bro, it would pay for your rent. It would pay for your snakes. It'd pay for everything from the sounds of it.
Yeah, no, I mean, the minimum prices, like I said, dude, for a small rat, all right, 12 to 15. For a medium sized rat, I'm spending at the only place that sells rats, sadly. That's why their prices are so jacked up, is because they have no competition though, too. So they could ask whatever they want, and people are paying for it. I'm like, this is fucking crazy. I'm not spending $20 or $18 on a medium. Like,
yeah,
kiss my ass. I'll build my own, and I did.
yeah,
But
it almost makes me angry because I feel like they're just taking advantage of the situation and just instead of keeping it respectable. You know what I mean?
And who wants to feed their female that they're trying to breed 5 fucking mice from Petco at $8.50 each? You know, I'd rather give her one good ass rat than like a bunch of meals at once. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's insane. That's crazy, dude. Like, I mean, and if she's a big girl, and if she's a mouser, and you had to feed 5 a week, like, bro, you better be producing those, because like
everything on mine end is on rats. But I'm just saying, if they had no rats and you have to go get a mouse, well, one mouse is so tiny compared to a rat.
Yeah.
Like,
the weight ratio is like insane compared to a rat. Like, yeah,
fat, everything, protein. Yeah, it's fuck.
Yeah. But you know, there's been a lot of debate lately too about ASF being a more appropriate food source. It's more digestible. When you know that particular rodent is smaller than a rat, less fats and such, but because it's their ideal food source, they metabolize it differently. Apparently their colors produce better from ASF. They poop a lot less. So there's definitely advantages to feeding like an ASF or a smaller rodent like that. However, we used to breed the ASFs and we got rid of everything, which I think was a mistake, and I think we're going to start getting back into some of it. But until that happens, the downfalls that we found with ASF was, they're when they're born, they're only slightly bigger than a mouse. They grow a lot slower than rats do.
The difference, yes, I agree. I mean, I don't have them, but I heard that. I get that. But the protein, everything you get from the ASF compared to the rat is so much better.
Right.
But I can't have ASFs in Nevada.
It's illegal.
No one will send me any either. I've asked.
Yeah. Well, if it's illegal, they're definitely not going to send them to you. Like,
I'm all good. I'm trying, but
yeah, you would have to travel across state lines and bring stuff back to make that happen, and then run the risk yourself, because I definitely don't think it's like me trying to buy a 30-round clip in the state of Connecticut. It's just banned, and pretty much every place that sells them knows that it's banned, and there's no way to get it. I would have to leave the state, make an illegal transaction, and then bring the stuff back across the line.
So
and I'm not condoning illegal transactions or doing anything of the such for magazines or ASF, just to clear that air.
Clear that. Yeah. I was gonna say though, Matthew says he's the other half. I was told that already. I take that, no offense on Jim, but you're the more experienced rat breeder.
Yep.
And that's cool. And then construction worker says I pay basically $7 for an ASF. What's up, Wiz? Thank you, brother. Hell yeah, Wiz is in the house.
What's going on, Wiz?
If you guys haven't already, please smack that like button and share this shit out. I'd appreciate it. And so would Jim. So is it slightly different from the last time we hung out? on the show together, like compared to when I had my co-host?
It's definitely different. I find this format a little bit easier with two hosts and a guest. From the guest perspective, I almost don't know who to talk to or how to engage. It's a little bit easier to to have like a single kind of way of communication, if you will, instead of in your brain trying to develop two different conversations almost at the same time. So I find this a little bit simpler, a little bit easier, a little bit more enjoyable, like less work on the brain.
Good. I mean, I don't know how you felt last time, if you were more, he was the better co-host, or if I was, whatever. But like, I just want to make sure, because like you said, keep you abstract on the time. We've been going for an hour and 2 minutes.
Yeah.
You still got an hour in you?
Oh yeah, we can keep going.
Sweet.
If you got more stuff, man, let's do it.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's gonna be a bullshit hangout. Like that's what it normally is. I'm not gonna ask you a million questions or ask you the same question I asked you before. It's just kind of pointless, because I'm not gonna ask you what got you into breeding when you already have like 300 plus ball pythons. Like,
yeah, and you had said too that you wanted to have us back on and talk more rodents. But that was a while back, and until you mentioned that again just recently, just a little bit ago, I kind of forgot about that. So if we do this again, we'll definitely have to get Matt over here, and you can really dissect into the ratios, the temps, the airflow, the size of the building, what we put into construction, what we like, what we don't like all that stuff. And I can't really answer the likes and don't likes, because I'm cleaning snakes while he's cleaning rats. Like I'm not really over there. Hardly at all. Occasionally I go over there, but
I'm shocked that, shit. 300 plus snakes, right? I mean, that's a lot of poop and pee.
It sure is. It's a fair work in itself. I mean, there's about 3 to 3.5 hours of cleaning just down here for these guys.
Out of curiosity, I use paper towels. That's me. I'll be honest with you. I've said it before on my live stream. So do you use, for the hatchlings, do you still cocoa on them, or do you?
My holdbacks I'll put on cocoa chip, because when they move upstairs, they'll be on Repti chip or something of the like. Right now we're using Repti chip. Any hatchlings that are born and going to be sold, I try to keep them on paper, only because when I quarantine stuff, I quarantine animals on paper, or a white paper towel. So if there's any risk of mites or anything like that, they can be seen. So when the hatchlings go to somebody, I'm assuming that they're going to quarantine them. They should be on like a white paper type substrate, so for the same purpose, so that the animal gets there and it's something familiar. And typically what happens with that mentality is most of our stuff eats really phenomenal. We don't chintz on food. We feed every baby like we're going to keep them. And what that in turn leads to is an animal that comes out of a shipping box, goes into a tub to get warmed up. And I've had customers, feed them in 5 or 6 hours of receiving them, and they eat right away. And I don't think that's just paper towel, but I think there's it's the feeding and everything. But I like paper towel, and I think Justin talked about this a little bit too. If you start on paper towel and you have an animal that doesn't eat, it gives you options. You can change it to like a cocoa base, or you can change it to an aspen if you're using aspen or whatever. It allows you to give it a change to kind of trigger that animal to eat. So
honestly, I have no problem with no one eating. I have everyone now on paper towels. The only two that aren't, or of course my ready female, the female that I'm hoping laying eggs, I got her on cocoa, and then I got my wife's favorite on cocoa as well. For
I
me,
think
I'd rather. It's easier. Like
it
I
is.
never.
And it's unforgiving too. A cocoa bedding, you're gonna, clean once a week and pick poop out of it, but there's gonna be cocoa that's gonna absorb, all the urine and all the stuff that goes in there, and it's still there, even though you've, maybe spot cleaned, um, for a few weeks until it sheds or whatever, and then you clean everything, however you do it. Um, Paper towel is unforgiving. You see all the urine, you see all the poop and everything, and it's a train wreck. So you have to go in and you clean it right away. It just kind of forces you to clean things and stay on top of stuff more often.
I'd rather clean them every day if it takes it. Than I mean, it's just with me not working and all that. Like
Yeah,
So
yeah, you got the time, throw it in for sure. Here, working 40 hours
it'd be
a week
different if I
and
had
then
that many.
doing this. I can't clean every hatchling every day. But we go through and we changed the way we kind of, the type of water bowls we use so that they can't spill them. Because that was, that's kind of the biggest problem that we have is, they would go in and flip the water bowl and then the tub becomes a total train wreck. And you have to go in and clean it out, set them all up new again. But if you can keep the water bowl from flipping over, they stay dry. They're not sitting in stuff. It's a lot better,
Yep.
from what we found anyway. But yeah,
I
we
got
do
a lot.
both. We kind of do both.
I'll usually only fill up the water bowls about halfway because a lot of the younger ones like to go underneath the water bowl. So I'm like,
Well,
okay.
we with the V18s, we use a 12-ounce bowl. So just a classic deli cup. I don't. It's microwave safe. I don't know if it's dishwasher safe. I would imagine it is, but they're cleanable. You can clean them or you can just toss them. But when this sits in a V18, the top of the V18 is probably an inch to inch and a half above the cup. So when it goes to tip, it hits the bottom of the next level. So they can't tip this bowl in a V18, which is fantastic because now they can't spill the water. Or if they do, if they tilt it, if I filled it too much and they tilt it a little bit, they might spill it a little, but I'm not dumping 12 ounces of water on there. It's going to settle back and they're still going to have water. And it's pretty minor as far as, the mess it makes in the tub.
Hell yeah.
And we used to use these little kind of look like this. It's like a little. We got them at the dollar store. You get it like a 3-stack, and they're hard plastic. And you put this in a V18, they can completely flip it over. And then again, water goes everywhere. It makes a total mess. And then you got to go in and you got to fill up the waters all the time. We put those. We only use those now in like the V15s, like the smaller tubs. They take up just about the whole width, so they can't turn this way or toward forward. They can only tilt backwards. So some of them get creative and they spill them.
I got the hatchling wreck. Well, maybe not from what you have. I got sea serpents, but
Yeah, I mean, but if it's a V18, it's essentially the same thing.
yeah.
So same thing. Those V18s, you get the 12-inch delis. They can't flip those in there.
Okay,
So
that's good shit to know right there.
yeah, dude. We picked that tip up from Monroe Morphs. It's a friend of ours that's a few towns over. We hang out quite a bit. We've done a fair bit of lives with them as well. And that's what he was using over there. And I was like, well, we should just go buy a stack of them and just change them out because I'm getting sick of just changing tubs. LKB, what is going on? I see that. Good to see you, brother. I just get tired of changing tubs because they're saturated, and that's where you get scale rot stuff from if they're sitting in water and that kind of thing. So this is nice because it eliminates, a vast majority of work by not just having to change tubs because they're soaking wet.
Oh yeah. So code LKB says, if code DOMs didn't exist, what genes would you be to?
If they didn't exist,
Correct.
well, that leaves you with dominants and recessives.
And recessives. And I'd probably go recessives, and that's just me.
Yeah, so Desert Ghost, Hypo Clown Pied. That's what I would call, because that's what I work with. I know Matt would be like probably Desert Ghost Puzzle Exanthic Pieds. It was probably his world, a little bit different. Yeah, and we're currently trying to work all those recessives into our incompletes and dominant genes as we speak, which has been a lot harder. Transition is very, very difficult to pull in genes that you want to see in a double or a triple recessive project, because again, animals on both sides have to have all 3 genes or 2 genes or whatever. So yeah,
damn,
it's some work, some brain power.
Yeah, it takes a lot. Yeah, no, I mean, you got to pay attention.
A lot of fun too.
Yeah, that's the fun part about like breeding them is like, you never know. It's not guaranteed. Oh, because I put this to this, I'm gonna get this. It's not guaranteed.
Nope.
Like,
I completely agree.
I mean, you could argue and be like, well, if I put a pie to a pie, yeah, I get it. But
yeah. That doesn't grow your. Let's just call it a business, right? Because you're gonna at some point sell something.
Correct.
Right? So we'll call it a business. Pied to pied does not grow your business. Now, granted, if you have incomplete dominance in the mix, you may be looking to hit something and you want to eliminate the risk of not hitting the pied part. So if you have it and you do pied to pied, okay, I get it. But if you're doing that year in and year out, you can do that. Guys do that. I mean, people mass produce pieds. There's no doubt. You can look at certain breeders that we won't name names, but like they post hundreds of pieds on Morph Market, hundreds, and they sell at $250, $300 a piece or whatever the going rate is. They do sell, but those breedings make you money, but they don't drive your business forward. Because at the best you can do with that pairing, what are you going to do next year? You're going to make more pies, which is not bad. You can, but it doesn't grow up your business. So a lot of times when I'm building my pairings, I'm looking at stuff like that, and I'm like, do I make visuals with this pastel desert ghost girl, or do I just make more hets because I want to see those genes in desert ghost? Correct. To this point, I have just made hets, whether it's clown, desert ghost, pied. So I haven't really made a ton of visual recessive combos because I keep building for the future with double recessives or adding genes into things I want to see. But there's going to come a time where there's just it all comes to a head and there's no choice. Like, in this coming year, this next breeding season for us is kind of going to touch on some of that, where I've been building hets for so long that now all those crazy hets are going back, and hopefully we're going to be making some crazy visuals too, and some doubles and triples and things like that. Again, building for the future. But man, building those projects it's tough, and you You don't have to, but like, my mentality is I wanna compete a little bit, and I know if I resort to just making the pied stuff or just producing visuals instead of building my hets and trying to build my army, um, I'm not going to compete. At least I might compete this year because of what I have, but I probably won't compete the year after, the year after that, because the guys that are always holding stuff back and making their hets, they're going to be way ahead.
From what I have in my collection, I have everything mapped out the way I want to go. Um, I do. There's one thing I want to do, and that's make a world's first. And I talked to Brian Cusco when he was on my live. I gave away a world's first that no one's done.
You gave away?
Well, not gave away. I mean, like, I told the Janes and like,
oh yeah. Okay.
You know, if you can make it cool, but like, if that's my goal, I would like to be known to at least made at least one world's first of something.
Well, there's plenty of room for that.
Oh yeah. Because the one thing, like, not knocking on anyone that's in it, a lot of people are going pie, clown, or hypo. I get it. Or sunset if you're in the bigger game, or monsoon if you're in the bigger game. Once again, but there's a lot of other genes that never been put together that people haven't, and you just have to know your genes, and you just have to know what to look for at the end of the day. Now, under some genes like to cover up a lot of shit. Cinnamon.
Yeah.
Like, you might have to keep that and breed it out once it's fully, and just and make sure it's proven out. But that doesn't mean your first season you're going to hit every single gene in that. So it might take 2-3 seasons to be like, all right, yeah. The second season it actually showed like I hit like this in it, cinnamon, and bam, got it. Like, cool. Like, but that's my goal, is make worlds first. And what's up, Area 51? What's up, BPL?
Hey, I'm just gonna swipe down here. I just want to check my battery. All right, I got about 21% on the battery left, so we got some time.
Okay. Maybe not too much, but we got some time.
Yes, we do. Oh
no! Hit the camera button. I hit it too.
Hold on. Where did we go? There we go. Whew, sorry about that.
You're good, man. No worries.
Went a little haywire.
If you guys haven't already, smack that like button, share the shit out. I truly appreciate it. Still, there's 14 in the house. You guys are fucking awesome. Thank you so much. And yeah.
Yeah, no, it's I don't know. It's one of those things that's ever changing, and we're always constantly looking at how we're doing things, and how what can we do better or different that either makes life easier or makes things more efficient, so that we're just not wasting time. Both Matt and I are we work in an operating room, and you do a full week, and if you can make a slight change that saves you time, it's greatly appreciated. So one of those cost saving measures that we did, or that mostly Matt did with the rodent room this year, is we hooked up. We essentially converted all the water to, it was automated. So there's like, you can run, it's hose fed. Hose goes out to the garage, and then it's connected to a piping system with servo valves and essentially timers and float valves and things. So the float valves in the top, we have two 16-gallon conical like not fermenters, but containers. They come down and they're like tapered. So there's dump valves. So the water fills. A float valve is installed up top. So even if the piping system and servo valves are wide open, if it gets full, the float valve turns it off, and that'll run 2 or 3 times a day, and it'll top up those containers, so the rodents always have water. So there's during
Damn.
not 9, but like 7 or 8 months out of the year
So
up here.
So I just got to ask, because he's watching too.
Yeah.
Who builds the rat racks, you or him?
We do. We've both built.
Do it together.
Yeah, we've built them all together. Okay.
I was just wondering, because you're more the snake one, so I didn't know if you just good luck. No, just joking.
Yeah, we've no, definitely not. We've DIY'd. We started building all our racks ourselves, and we built them all together. And then it just got a point where, yes, I can build them, but my craftsmanship skills aren't as good as other people's, and the the quality of the stuff behind me from Baller's Garage is way better than the stuff I built. And after using that for a season or two, and then having to go back and use the stuff that we built because we just had so much, I'm like, I just want to throw the stuff I built away and have it replaced with more stuff from him, because it's just not at the same level. The rat racks, though, we've made modifications to. How we built the first ones, the second ones, there's more support. So when you pull the big tubs out, the big Home Depot cement tubs, there's no sag and different things. So it's worked. But again, 7 or 8 months out of the year, having that automated water system where you just don't have to worry about watering them. You have to just check the nipples to make sure that they're not plugged or whatever, is a bit of time that you just don't have to spend doing maintenance, and it makes a huge difference.
Because you have the water going in the bucket, right? And the bucket and you have
piped. Okay, so it's piped across all the racks, and then it goes through all the tubing into the nipples and all that stuff. So
as for me, I'm still on the water bottles, so it's daily that I'm checking on them, and I would love to switch over. I'm thinking about doing the next rat rack I build, which would probably be this coming weekend, then or tomorrow. Probably start it tomorrow, and then have it done by Monday, because I like to take my time and freaking that little whatever. Take my time and fuck up. And so
it makes a huge difference. Just having, and once you go to a bucket system, you'll be like, I can't believe I messed with bottles for so long. It's insane. Because you have to check, like, you're checking bottles every single day to make sure they have water. The bucket, you can visually see where the water level is and know when you have to top it off. And then, the step that we made this year to the automated thing was crazy. Matt can chime in if he's still on here to, what a relief it is. What a relief it is not to have to fill buckets. We had, before we had the automated thing, we had made a wand that was kind of bent at the top and hooked over, and it had a little valve on it. So you still hooked it up to a hose, but then you could just reach up and hang it on the bucket, open it up, and let it run. And then when it was done, you close it off. But again, the problem is that you really can't walk away. You got to still pay attention, because if you walk away, there's no safety check there. It's still going to run, and it's going to overflow and flood your rats or over on the floor. So this system is nice, and we did the extra measures with the float valves that kind of override whatever automation is going on. So if there happens to be, for whatever reason, higher pressure from the city, and they fill quicker than the timer allows, that float valve is just going to shut it off anyway, and we're not going to have wasted water all over the place.
That's what I plan on switching to, because I am tired of filling up every day.
Yeah, but that's going to change soon. He's going to have to go back to manual filling those those 2 big containers, just because we're, it's November and we're seeing a couple nights down in the 28, 30-ish area, and we're going to keep seeing that stuff going forward for the next, 4 or 5 months. So
I love how you said he will have to fill the water buckets.
yes, he will.
By the way, he will fill that shit.
Yes, that's right. And I'm cleaning all the snake poop and changing all the waters and managing all that stuff too, which is, and I'll admit, is way better than dealing with the rats. Way better.
Okay.
But eventually we'll get to the point here where, he'll be able to hire somebody to, just deal with the rats and just clean, and then all he'll have to go do is like the pairing and swapping out females and, kind of make sure all the food and whatever is still square, and then we'll be good. It'll be different. Here, I've kind of hired my daughter to clean the adults upstairs anyway. So she just graduated with her master's, and she's been home for a little bit, and she's been building her clientele and doesn't have a ton of it yet. So I asked her if she wanted to make a little extra money. She said yes. I told her what needed to be done. She said okay. So she's been cleaning the adults for me on a weekly, which is a nice break. And then I just got to worry about these guys down here.
Sweet. I mean, that helps. I mean, BPL Junior's he's watching, so that's my oldest son. He's 8 years old, and
nice.
I'm sorry to say this. Jim just said he pays his daughter, Damien. I'm not paying you nothing. you're gonna clean.
you gotta earn your keep.
Because when BPL goes and Mama BPL goes, he'll get the whole collection. But until then, I ain't paying you a damn dime. Like,
that's funny.
He actually has a snake. I'll show you. I'll show you his right now.
Nice.
Actually,
I want to see it.
It's a banana inchy spider orange dream. Or no, I take that back. Sorry. Pinstripe spider orange dream inchy. Sorry, I take that back.
So still, I mean that's a monster of a snake for an 8-year-old to have.
Yeah. No.
Is that a girl?
No, it's a boy. I asked him. I was like, he's like, Daddy, I want one. I was like, all right, you can name everybody but Odin. And he's like, I want that one, Apollo. And I was like, all right, dude. Sure.
That's cool.
And he holds them all the time. Like, I see the inchy, the more and more though I have them. At first, I was like, no, I don't see it, but I see it now. And the orange dream's there, the spider's there because I can see the head wobble and him kinking, and
you can definitely see the spinner. Yeah, Engie is sometimes my struggle gene. I even this year, when we're 8 years in or whatever, even this year, I've sold animals as yellow bellies, and I'm like, man, that looks really good for just a yellow belly, but I'm not 100% sure if that's Enchi, and I sold it to him at at a yellow belly rate. We had Hetson involved or whatever, and he posted up, and like everybody's, oh yeah, that's Enchi yellow belly, blah blah blah. I'm like, really that simple of a combo, and I can't even tag Enchi all the time. So you'll find that there'll be certain genes that catch your eye, and you're like, oh, I can see that all over the place. And then other genes, you just, at least me anyway, I just struggle with. So
my thing is with him, my son might not like this, but he's going to my normal. The reason why is because I really want a orange dream in my collection. I understand he has that in him, but I want a super OD at one point. Like I find them so beautiful. Like I would love a super orange dream.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So
yeah, we have our first shot this year at producing a super OD.
So another thing is like I'm debating if so sadly to say, there's only one snake in my collection that's been bought by a PetSmart or a Petco. It was actually Petco, and I don't believe it's normal. I'll show you if you want to see.
Yeah, let's take a look.
1 second. My wife sent me something. I don't know. She said something, and it probably was me because I'm an asshole. But there's a few characteristics on this girl, and I'll put her on solo, and maybe you could tell me. But I mean, yes, she kind of looks, but if you look at the blushing on the head, wrong way, she has like that chocolate, like, it's a red stamp on top, like a darker stamp on top.
Yeah.
The way she looks on the side sometimes, like in certain areas.
So, yeah, she doesn't have like full alien eyes and stuff.
No, try to stretch her out. She lets me, but
yeah, I see what you're seeing.
The head stamp really, because I mean that kind of, I don't know, but I want to say maybe she might be chocolate, but I can't guarantee it. So that's the sad part. But she has a blushing on her head in person. I don't know if it's showing up on camera. Compared to the black on her dorso and all that, like.
Yeah, she's dark.
So, I don't know. Maybe.
So, well, seeing you brought that up, I'll say that I have 13% left for battery life, and we did a pairing. It was a pastel GHI to a pastel GHI chocolate Het Desert Ghost, and this is a female that I think is chocolate, or I have labeled as possible chocolate. So maybe we can kind of do a little comparison for you and see if we can come to some kind of agreement for both of us. But
see, dude, that looks. She has the same white, like flaming.
The tracing,
coming up.
Yeah.
Yes. Fuck.
See if I can get this head over here.
And the head's lighter than the body, right? Yeah.
Similar kind of eye stripes. Similar kind of head pattern. Where are you going, girl? Come here.
What's up, Moon over Miami?
Similar kind of like alien heads that are a little wonky and one-eyed, maybe two eyes here and there.
Yeah.
So I think this girl is a chocolate as well, but I currently have her listed as a possible chocolate.
See, that's what I don't see the normal, because I could show like, okay, so this one to me is. I was fooled when I bought her, but apparently yellow belly, but I don't know, maybe, but let me put me on solo. Come on.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with yellow belly, but her belly is like, she don't have any markings on the belly. Typically, normals like those center belly stripes would have some kind of color or marking on them, and she's kind of clear. I don't know. Yeah, I definitely don't see yellow belly though. I mean, I'll pull a yellow belly. I'll show you what. Yeah, that's crazy though. The way it's almost like a calico kind of pattern with no white.
Correct. Don't know what to make of her.
Yeah, well, you'll be able to grow her and breed her. Yeah, hold on. I'm going to spin around here and grab a yellow belly for you. So this here, this is going to be a straight yellow belly, poshet pied, a clown. Sorry. Now with the clown, sometimes you get a tail tip that is all white, and it is really not. There's just a little touch there, so I don't know that this will prove out. But when you see yellow belly, it kind of does its own thing. You'll get some flaming, like you see right where that finger is, right there.
Yep.
Yeah, there's
Now,
my 10%.
I don't know if this is found in yellow belly, but she does have some orange tint flaming on her.
Yeah, look at the difference in the belly though.
Yeah, that's a pattern difference.
Yeah, she is like just insane on the belly, like crazy checkering, really busy. You can even see it in the center part. Just craziness. Yeah, more flaming all around. So you're going to get the flames, and sometimes you get flames anyway, and you'll get some blushing up near the dorsal sometimes. You know, like right where that finger is, right there. But usually the telltale is right there. It's just like a total explosion along the belly.
Yep. That's why I don't see the. She looks more normal than when I bought my first one.
Yeah, and then you see here in between the blacks, you get all those flames coming, like almost consistent.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I see that girl. I don't necessarily see yellow belly, just because I don't see the checkering and stuff.
Correct.
Unless it's really reduced yellow belly, it's possible, but
I don't see it. I see it as a normal. As for my normal, I see her as a chocolate.
Yeah.
Because she has the head blushing, everything. She has nice patterning, really no keyholes. Like it's some, but random. It's weird. But there's only one way to prove her. So.
That's right. That's right. And you could do it a couple ways. Ideally, if you have a male that is an ivory, that's the perfect scenario, is something ivory. So that way you're guaranteed everything is at least
ivory.
Yellow belly. And then if she is yellow belly and she gives you anything, you're going to hit ivories. The second best would be a male that has at least one copy of yellow belly in it, so that you have a remote chance of hitting an ivory, or asphalt or highway if you had something, or asphalt or gravel if you had something like that to make highways or freeways, on the chance that you hit those odds. But that's not, for me to prove her out, that's not really definitive enough. I'd really like to see have like an ivory male that you could put to her and say, yeah, there it is. There's the white snake. Otherwise, you just get all yellow belly combos, and kind of not either prove her out or not prove her out.
Yep. I agree. Like that. No, she was the one though I had struggle. Like, okay, so when I got Odin was actually my second snake. She was my third, and Odin's another story. But as for Freya, like she wouldn't. When I first got her, she was like not taking anything. So
she wouldn't eat.
No, I tried assist feeding. That didn't work. It came to the point where I force fed her. I force fed her like 4 times at different periods of time.
Yep.
And then it came to a point where it sounds a little ruthless, sounds a little fucked up, but I was like,
done.
You have to fucking take this. I'm not doing this. And then eventually she fucking took. I was like, there you fucking go. Got that shit.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. I mean, and it doesn't always work out that way, but I'm glad she finally figured it out and started eating for you. I've got a male that I hit this year that is like the best clown that I've ever hit, and he's a tool. He's just starting to eat mice on his own, so I'll show him to you. So this guy was hatched on 6/19. So he is 5 months old, or almost 5 months old.
Yo, what's up, Benjamin Blankenship?
So this is a Firefly red striped clown. And
Not
again,
for sale, right? Hold back.
Yeah, no, I'm keeping him. But he's 5 months old, and he's the size of a hatchling that's had 4 or 5 meals. Assist feeding him has been a monster challenge. And he literally has taken maybe 2 or 3 meals on his own. So we're definitely in a better spot as far as what he's going to do. He's going to start eating, he'll start growing and stuff. But we definitely had some challenges with this guy. But I just refused to give up on this one because I really wanted red stripe and clown, and I wanted it to be able to spread it around and stuff.
Well,
and like
it's not that I was going to give up on her. I gave her a certain time limit.
Oh no.
She ate within that time limit, so I was golden.
Yeah, I didn't mean to insinuate that you.
No, I get it, but I just want to clarify.
Yeah, and we've also this year, what I'll say is we've also had an albino pie that we assist fed for an entire year, and she wasn't much bigger than that. And we finally got to the point after, God, I want to say it was probably 45 assist feeds that we were in the same boat as you, and it was like, well, we can't keep doing this. You're either going to thrive and eat, or you're not at this point. Because to be a year old and 100 grams, you're not really thriving. You're only here because I'm shoving stuff down your throat, so to speak. We'd put it in her mouth and she would eat, but you could never give her big enough rodents for her to really thrive and do well.
See, so I had the same problem. So with Freya, like the one I just showed you that I told you, and I actually had my sister and her boyfriend hit me up and be like, yo, because they had the same sister, because they're both females from the same clutch, having a hard time feeding. As soon as I got it, they're like, give me about, a couple of weeks and I'll come pick it up and see how it's doing. I was like, cool. Well, 2-3 months go by. And honestly, I'm like Freya, where I had a force feed. She was really small. Her sister was like double less, like half that size. I was like, shit, like this one's going to be a challenge. Like,
yeah.
And as soon as I know it, I just threw a rat in there. I was like, close the drawer. I'm filming a video. I'm like, yeah, I think it was like Fauna at the time. And then I switched the drawer because I hear a squeak, and I opened it and bam, she had that shit. And I was like,
that's a great feeling, ain't it?
Yeah. So I was like, how do you guys, like, how's your, he told me his setup, and he was like, I use the overtop white because he only has the one ball python, not trying to breed, just wants one. I was like, well, dude, you cut out the topper light. I was like, what are you using for heat source on the bottom? He's like, a heat mat. And I was like, cool, just get a thermostat, control that shit. And because I had her in my Sea Serpent's V38, even that she could have fit in the V18, as you would call it. But
yeah,
I put her in the V38, and she never looked back. She
That's
probably
awesome.
gained like 150, 200 grams with my hold.
Yeah.
Like when they came back, they're like, "Is that mine?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like,
Yeah, it's great. Like even here, the feeling. So we use a clip system to identify animals that are on mice or haven't eaten, or if they're assist feeds. And anytime we drop, a clip where an animal is converted to rats, we're like, yeah, it's such a great feeling to, get them off the little squealers and onto like, something where they get a little more sustainability and they grow a little bit quicker, and they just tend to grow better and do better on rats. And again, we're not breeding ASF, so we don't have that option here, at least for now.
no, I'm going to be honest though. My snakes will eat frozen thawed because I've done pre-kill and like just to see if they would do it. And all my snakes will eat pre-killed, so I'm pretty sure they'll eat frozen thawed. But as
Yeah,
for BPL though, I like live feeding. So
yeah,
that's my
we do
constant.
too. I mean, it's just quicker for us. I mean, with the volumes that we have to go through and flip live, and then just go back and check things instead of kind of dangling in front of each tub. But you know, occasionally I'll get a request from a customer about frozen thawed, and most of the time our animals take it right away without any hesitation. I've had customers that have bought from us with the intention of feeding only frozen thawed, and because, again, not all of them, but most of our animals are pretty strong feeders, they've arrived and they converted immediately without really any transition. So, I don't know. It's really a lot with the individual animal, I think. And there comes a point like even this week I was talking to Matt. We were upstairs feeding, and I had this one girl. She's like 3 going on 4, and she's been 600-700 grams for a couple years. Like she just didn't eat, and I'm like, you know what? This year, I'm like, I'm just going to throw a male in with her. Like I put her on the breeding board. I figured out what I was going to put to her, and she was about 700 grams. I threw a male in there. I'm like, she's old enough. In the wild, if she was small, a male would still lock up with her. So hopefully this will trigger her to start eating. Um, he locked with her, and dude, she's turned around. She's been housing food, and where she would only eat like really tiny rats or mice, she's been taking appropriate size rats. She's like 1,200-1,300 grams right now. Like she's doubled her weight over the past like 4 or 5 months.
That's
It's
great.
it's
That's
fantastic.
good.
It's about time, and it's fantastic. So,
See,
just don't ever give up on the small ones,
nope.
even if they're a little small. They'll still give you eggs, and just gotta put a
Two
mail to
things
them and get them triggered on.
you said don't give up on the small one. So here's two things. One, Reese's Pythons. I'm pretty sure you know who he is.
Yep. What's going on,
He had
Reese's?
he had a clutch not too long ago that was he had a baby at like 16, 14 grams. Like it was really tiny, but it's thriving now. Like it's
Yep.
doing great. But I had Odin. He was my second snake. I don't know if I told you this or maybe I didn't even remember. But when I bought him from a lady here locally, she was like cinnamon mel. I was like, cool, I'll buy him. Full grown. Find out when I go there, they've been feeding him. Had him 4 years. Been feeding him a mouse every 1 to 2 months. A mouse,
Holy
just one mouse.
cow, bro!
So when I got him, he was slimmer than my Coors can, my 24 ounce. Like it was bad. And when I took him home, I fed him right away. He ate a good sized rat right away. I was stoked. But he would start to kink up after a while. And like he was like raising his head, and you would hear
His
this
body didn't know how to deal with it.
like everything, and like he was gasping for air for like days and days, and like I found out that he had a respiratory infection.
Oh.
it just one thing, but that's why that's probably my wife's favorite, because from day one she immediately put it around her neck on the ride home, and like she just fell in love. And I feel bad for him, but then like after everything is because of everything he's been through. But now, dude, like he's my show steak. When someone comes over, I don't pull out a baby. I'm not like, yeah, here you go. Like I pull out him. He's a full grown male, and now, dude, he's thick as fuck. He's like 2,100 grams. When I got him, he was probably
dude, that's a huge male.
Now, when I got him though, he was probably 900. When I weighed him, he was like 927, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And he was small as shit, dude. And the last year I put on, he's 2,800 grams. He's a big ass, like, he's my boy. Like, I take him for walks.
That is a big male. I think the biggest male we got upstairs, I don't typically weigh all my snakes. Hatchlings I will on request or whatever, or females that I'm trying to see where they're at for like the breeding program, if they're coming up or whatever. But I mean, I got a male upstairs. I mean, if you looked at him, you would think he's a female. He's so big. There's probably a couple that are like that. But
so the thing about Odin is, like, dude, he's like 4.5 feet, almost 5 feet, almost, I would say.
Yeah, that's like big dude. He's probably Volta.
The only reason I don't have to pop him or probe him, and usually I pop, is because the first time he took a shit and I saw it, I should have recorded it. You saw both red hemipenes coming out. I was like, oh, damn, you haven't been. Like, I felt so bad though because he hasn't been fed, but I was like, okay.
Yeah, that Volta line, that Volta line is crazy. Like how big they are. I think we have some of it in our collection. We have a black pastel SK Xanthic female that is just a monster. She's huge. Her head is like half the size of my hand. Like, just gargantuan. Like, she's 40, I forget the last time we weighed her, like 4,800 grams empty. Like, just.
I want to actually go grab Odin if you have time real quick.
Yeah, man, I'm at 3%, so we gotta hustle.
All right, I'll hustle.
Because I may drop off any moment.
I will grab him. I'm grabbing him now.
And while you're doing that, I want to thank everybody that's been on this live stream. If you're still on here, if you were on from the beginning, God bless you. If you're on here now, thank you very much for all your support. Definitely, if you're following BPL, definitely, obviously, like this, subscribe, hit the little chime button so you can get notified. Yeah, that's a big snake. That's a big male. That looks like a female.
Yeah, he's male. He's in the middle of the shed, sadly.
Yeah, definitely hit that bell so you get notified anytime any videos come up from the BPL show. And again, thank you for any support that you've provided this way. If you, I know LKB and a couple other guys here follow me as well. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Also, before I lose you, because I understand you're at 3%, Matthew said he's completely down to come on next time with you.
Sweet.
So you hit me up on IG. Let me know when I can have you as a guest again, dude. That'd be badass, dude.
Yeah.
Jim, I'm going to let you go because you're so low on battery. Thank you for being on the BPL show, dude. Hopefully this was better than the first time.
Absolutely. Thank you. Again, I really appreciate it. Definitely a better time from my perspective. I enjoyed it. I like this one-way conversation just a little bit more than trying to, and it seemed a little bit more focused too. So that was definitely a good thing. So again, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming back to us and having us on. And it's always a blast. I mean, I could sit here and talk forever, but there's snakes to clean, and I gotta go eat dinner. It's 8 o'clock here.
For sure.
I'm a hungry man. So
I get it. Yeah, no, I get it, man. Thank you.
All right. Peace, brother.
I want to let you leave. I want to give some shout outs real quick, say a couple words before I leave. If you want to stick around for it, you can.
Okay.
If not, then it's cool.
Yeah, sure. Go
just
right ahead.
really quick. After the show, in about an hour, you guys will see the Iron Animals show that's hosted by my Animal House and Iron Dog Reptiles. Make sure you guys go check that out. I'll definitely be there. And there'll probably be a later live stream with BPL Junior on the show tonight. So definitely check that out. And until next time, I am Ball Python Love. That is Ectothermic Dungeon, and Matthew will be on next time. Until then, we're out. Peace out.
All right.
I'm not gonna say YouTuber.